Welcome to Yana TV. It is such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Looking at you, I'm just wondering, where are you from?
I'm from that part of the world. I'm from Russia originally.
And when did you come to Singapore?
Almost 5 years ago.
Okay, well, I was born in St. Petersburg, right? So you don't have to be shy with me to talk about it. So you came here 5 years ago. Why?
We actually we stayed in Singapore for half a year in 2014, and we really liked it. It's my wife's girlfriend back then. She studied, she did MBA here in INSEAD, and we just loved the place. And then we went back to Europe, spent some time there. But we also we always wanted to go back because we just like Singapore. and yeah, we decided, okay, that's time, we go back.
And I know that the topic of our conversation today, we will be talking largely about personal branding, because this is also your background. So yes, I mean, you were to Singapore, but tell me a bit more, just what have you been doing also before, just when it comes to building brands and amplifying them, so that we understand.
I had a decent sized business in social media marketing agency, and we did a lot of online education. Exactly about personal branding, also a bit of networking, and how to grow. Our main topic was how to grow personal brands online, how to build this presence online using Instagram, YouTube, and other platforms. And overall, I did a lot of speaking stuff. So overall, I think I had around 200,000 students, free students. But before that, I actually came from the corporate world. I was a Gucci brand manager a long time ago, 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was always my thing.
How to exponentially grow brands.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, this is how we also connected, that even though you could say recently came to Singapore, you started here, which is already now a very, popular YouTube channel. So tell us about that. So tell us about your YouTube channel and how did you start and what are you focusing on right now?
Yeah, recently, for the last, I would say 3 months, we started gaining traction. Now I recognize on the street every day. It's just insane.
People are are you Max? I saw you. I know you.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's what people. Oh, you Max? You YouTuber. So people are really fascinated. I launched this channel I think 2 years ago, but then I was dragged to my main business, and then I kind of stopped making content. But then I decided, okay, half a year ago, in October 2022, I decided to relaunch this channel. I hired a team, so I had a team of 5 people, including me. And we started, our main goal was, okay, we do a lot of tests, experiments. So we test different types of format, different types of content, different guests. And then I would say after 4 or 5 months of testing, we kind of found this niche of expats speaking about their experience being in this country. I think that's the gap between understanding locals understanding foreigners and vice versa, especially I think from local side. So sometimes it's as we discussed in our interview, sometimes it's just different universes and different circles. They're not really interact with each other. So we found this niche, and it seems to work super well. And we also we get the same format, and we tested it in Malaysia, and it works as well. So same kind of content.
What tips can you give people who want to go in this direction? So let's say starting a YouTube channel with your messaging, making it successful. So how do you do that?
Okay, the first one would be pretty obvious, and I think you hear it a lot. You just start. You just need to start.
Okay.
Because otherwise, people overthink it. For me, I launched I had a successful YouTube channel in Russian with 300,000 subscribers, and I've been doing it for a while. So for me, overthinking kind of makes sense because I can understand the game. But for people who never done any YouTube or any TikTok or Instagram, you just have to start doing it. The second tip would be do it on the side. Don't leave your job too early, and then see what works, what doesn't work. Maybe you don't like it, because sometimes people this freaking influencers, they make so much money.
The time of their life, they get recognized, invited everywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. They just basically follow their food and that's how they get
Get famous.
Get famous, get like big sponsors
And
no,
in reality?
No, in reality, it's a huge back end. I say that I have a team of like 5 people, and people, what? 5 people? How come? Like we thought it's only you, because it's like 5 people working full time to produce 3 short, like 10 minutes long, 12 minutes long videos a week, and it actually takes you a lot of like effort and time. And the third one, like go learn like how this thing works. So basically, you can like buy a course, like a YouTube course or something, or you go on YouTube, and there are a lot of videos about it, how to be like successful YouTuber. So you just because otherwise, if you create a nice piece of content, and then you screw up the thumbnail, and people never click. So what's the point of doing YouTube then, or like TikTok? So you need to understand how this works. It's not only about I know my content is good, so people will watch it. No, people will not watch it because it's like so much content out there. You compete with a lot of other creators.
And I think this is also this common misconception that, or maybe it was true at the beginning, that YouTube is just for teenagers and younger generation, and you shoot it with whatever cameras, and there's not much post-production. And it's what you said, you shoot your food, a conversation with the friend, and it goes viral. Yeah. And in reality, it's a full-time job. That often best YouTubers, they would have scripts for the videos. You prepare, you know who you're talking to. Even if it is looks like spontaneous, you actually often script what's going to happen through the story. Yeah. So it's a full-time job.
And if you want to be consistent, if you want to make living out of it, you need to know how to do it, not like one time, but how to make it work consistently.
I like it also what you're saying. It's important to know why would you actually even have the YouTube channel. Yeah. So is it to make money with that, which one the conversation itself, or just to drive traffic to your existing products? Yeah. So what do you think is the better reason to have YouTube channel? Why people would do that?
Yeah, that's the reason. I think even if you're a creative person and you want to just like have your message, like send a message out there, you have to make money out of it. Otherwise, it's really hard to like work for 3 years doing this YouTube, not having any money back out of it. So you need to think about it as a project. It's not supposed to be. Has to be like you get rich quick. It doesn't work in most of the cases.
And what you're saying is, it looks like your channel looks like an overnight success. Actually, it took a lot of work to get there, and also all the experience before that you had to learn how to create content. Yeah. So it is a full-time job if you really want to do that. Yeah. So you interviewed all these people now in Singapore because of what you were doing. And I'm just curious, what was the most unusual interview?
I would say there were a few like unusual stories, like yours.
Like actually. Mine, okay.
Like your story is pretty cool. Another, I interviewed a girl. She was born in Singapore. She's 27 now. She was born in Singapore. Her parents were like sailors, and she's been living in Singapore for her whole life. And she never get any like PR or passport. And like she's been living here. She speaks with like American/Australian accent. She was born in Singapore, so all these things is very, very unusual.
What is your favorite thing about Singapore?
My favorite thing about Singapore? Oh, I can like talk about it.
Okay, give me top 3 since there is the whole list. So what are top 3 things?
First one, I think people, like honestly, like it's a small place. It's a big city, but it doesn't feel like as big as like New York or Moscow or London because it's almost no traffic. Like our Singaporean audience would say in the comments, oh, of course we have traffic, like 9 o'clock traffic, but guys, if you go
it's not 6 hours traffic jam.
Yeah, if you go to Jakarta or Bangkok, I mean, that's traffic, and here is no traffic. So basically you can get from point A to point B like in 20 minutes, 25 minutes, which makes super easy to meet people. So logistically, it makes it super easy. And Singapore just drags all the smartest people from all over the world or all the regions, all nationalities, like in one place here.
I wonder why. Do you have any ideas about that? What do you think? Why would that be out of all places? Everyone seems to be wanting to come here.
I think that was the initial strategy of actually LikiY Like when that was the strategy. So we not have enough like resources, even human resources. So we need to make this place attractive for like foreign investments. And with the foreign investments, they start like having people in the country as well. Like Hong Kong, if you do business with China, the company can be based in Hong Kong. But if you do business with all the Southeast Asian countries, it's a logically business in Singapore. So yeah, I would say people is number one. Number two is everything is like just super convenient and works super well. And like starting from all the government services and finishing with like any like day-to-day services. Like you lived in Switzerland, right? In Switzerland, it takes like ages to like, I don't know, get the home broadband internet at home, like to be installed.
Or try London.
Yeah. So it's like,
even though it's a great place, but in terms of logistics, very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one, I would say, and the third one maybe. I like the weather actually.
Okay, so, you're one of the very few people
who
were not born here and who say this.
Yeah, it's a great hub for travel as well. If you're in Singapore, it's easy for you like to go to all the South Asian countries, China, India, Australia. So more or less, this, if you're interested in this part of the world, it's one of the best places to be in this region, if you want to be in this region strategically.
Okay. What is your least favorite part about Singapore? Do you have anything?
Actually, I get used to like some things I didn't like in the beginning.
Like for example?
Not really I didn't like, but let's say the service is very transactional. Like in a restaurant, in a cafe, it's very like no smile, no buy, this kind of thing in many places. It's like, it's very efficient, but it's transactional compared to, I don't know, Italy, let's say, or Spain. But after like 5 years here, I was like, yeah, I don't waste my time waiting for food, and that's the main, that's the biggest thing. I think that's the area to grow, like service-wise in Singapore.
I heard it actually from many people.
Yeah.
So particularly about like friendliness, kind of just engaging with customer and kind of people skills. Right, kind of really know people. So it's not only about efficiency, but also, hey, how is your day? And foreigners like that. But maybe here it's not relevant.
People have a wrong idea about like Russia, the country we're originally from.
Yes,
but
tell me about that.
But if you go to Moscow, like, I don't know now, but I think it's still there. But like, I used to go to Moscow pretty often, and the service is just amazing. Like all the restaurants, all the cafes, it's super friendly.
Yeah,
it's friendly, it's efficient. Yeah. It's like people smile, people try to help you. Sometimes in Singapore, people don't try to help you. They're like, okay, we don't have it in the menu. But can you do? Oh, sorry, we don't have it. They are polite, but they are not thinking outside of the box in customer service. Though the interesting thing about Singapore, if you go to any like museum or like government
government institution.
The service is actually super nice,
I
and
agree
sometimes it's better than like commercial organization.
Okay, so clearly now listening to you and having this conversation, there is some growth needed in the business sector, that people just need to work on a customer service actually specifically. Yeah. So I don't know how government employees get trained, but maybe it's a different training in terms of service. Yeah. And local, clearly like in a private sector, people don't get this. So they just come, they work, but there's no actually this service culture, how to talk with customers. Yeah. And
I don't say it doesn't exist. But if you just compare it, because Singapore is like almost perfect, and if you want to be like 100% perfect, so maybe you just fill this gap as well.
Well, it's a very small place, and as you said, with it almost perfect, it's already very full with people, and more are in the line trying to come. So we kind of were laughing that if Singapore would have maybe like 4 seasons weather and would be absolutely perfect, then it would be impossible to get here because everyone would want to live there in Singapore.
That's true.
So I think it's nice to have, some elements for growth and development. Yeah. So otherwise, it could be really, really crowded here.
No, actually, the stop factor for Singapore, it's obviously the cost of living.
Yeah.
So people don't the majority of people cannot afford to come to Singapore, even if they have job or business, because it's so expensive. So that's the filter. That's why actually like more like successful career-wise successful or money-driven people come to Singapore. That's why it's so business-oriented.
Okay. Have you been interacting a lot, like with Singaporean?
Interacting, like making friends.
Like make friends, or doing business, or part of also interview recordings. Like how well do you know the Singaporeans who were born here?
Majority of my audience on my YouTube channel, it's the Singaporeans. So basically, I interact with them in the comments every day.
Okay, so you interact with them every day through the comment section, and I read some of those comments, and people are really very engaging and very honest. That's the other thing. They're really like they're speaking their mind about things.
Yeah. Sometimes they shouldn't.
I haven't said that, but who knows? Just reading theirs and interacting with them. What did you realize for yourself about people? Like what was maybe came to your mind? Like I'm sure we always do this one way or another.
There are a lot of opinions out there.
Okay.
And all the opinions are like nowadays, all the opinions can be expressed, which is good. But then when you see this, some people, it's probably minority of people, like haters, people start commenting, expressing their opinion, and you can be misguided and overwhelmed with so many like extreme opinions. But in real life, they're still like nice people, and it's a little bit like it's a bit of confusion or like how you understand reality. You don't want to understand the reality and judge about the real world based on the comments on YouTube videos. That's for sure. In general, what I like about like Singaporean audience is people are opinionated, but people, most of the people, they're not like, oh, bullshit. They don't do it. Some people that do, but the majority of people in the comments, they're like, okay, I disagree, or they can say this is bullshit because and then the explanation. So what I like about this, the local audience, people they based on something expressing their ideas, which is really cool.
How is your family with all of that? Like how are they dealing with this? Are they liking it? So how are they reacting to everything?
Okay, my 6-year-old daughter knows that I'm a YouTuber,
okay.
And she's kind of cool about it. Oh, my daddy, she knows like I'm doing this thing.
Yes.
It's funny to see that she kind of understands because she watched YouTube herself and she kind of understands that daddy is doing something.
What your daddy does. My daddy is a YouTuber.
Yeah. My wife, she already gets used to it because I've been doing like social media for a long time in Russian, like Instagram, YouTube. I'm trying not to be like too much out there, like me personally. I know that.
So thank you for showing up here today.
No, I mean, like building a personal brand is super important, and I know for my business, for my project, it's super important. So people trust me because they know like what I'm for, what I'm against, like my attitude about different kind of things. So if people know me, they trust me, and then like it's good for business. At the same time, I don't want to be this kind of like Instagram bloggers who always out there, who always like post content and like about their life, like real time. And I have a privilege not to do it because the production process of YouTube is not like that. And our format, I find interest in people and I make interviews, and that's my main format.
Are you planning on staying in Singapore?
Yeah. Because I lived in many places. I lived in Russia, in the US, in the UK, in Ireland, in Spain, Luxembourg, a little bit. We've chosen Singapore consciously. So I just love the place. I see the big potential in this region. I want to be here long term.
Okay, so if we are looking at the long term, so what and who would you like to become in this region? I'm just curious.
Like the big idea, I want to build like a small media empire.
Okay, big media empire. Okay.
That's another thing about like the content creation market here. There is not much competition. So if you know what to do, if you know your game, it's easier. So honestly, like I want to adapt other countries as well. So I want to try the same format for India, for China, Indonesia, Philippines. And then I built like my other projects, like products on this audience, like for this audience that I'm gaining through YouTube. So YouTube will be a main platform.
Well, good luck with all of that. I'm looking forward to see what is happening with the expansion of your platform.
Here on this YouTube channel, I see that we actually closing this gap of understanding between locals and foreigners. I think we're doing something like for good, for the local community, for the audience, so people understand each other more. And another thing I really like, and it's also my kind of life principle. I like when people see like broader horizons, like the perspective of like how people look at things. And if you live in many countries and you meet different people, so your horizon is broadened up. I feel that showing different types of people, different races, different nationalities, different backgrounds in Singapore, people like start having like different ideas how life can be and how views about life can be. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
You're proud of your work, and I'm very proud of you doing that. And the final question that I wanted to ask about your daughter that you have, right? So she's 6 years old. What kind of world would you like her to grow up?
Without wars, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
That would be ideal. Like I would say, okay, like personally for her, I'm trying to give her like all the best start, the best base. Let's say she speaks Russian and English fluently, and she speaks Mandarin as well, Chinese in school, and she's going to bilingual program. So like I think her life will be good. But the world, if you're asking about the world, it's a like big topic. I mean, let's say
tough question.
It's a tough question, yeah. Let's say if the world goes to be less divided and to be people accept other people more, and meaning it's less wars and less conflicts. That would be perfect.
Thank you so much, Max, for joining us here today. It was a wonderful, unusual in many ways conversation, and good luck with everything you are doing in Singapore. We're going to follow you.
Yeah, it goes well. Soon.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much. I think we forgot something. Guys,
yes.
Subscribe to the channel and press the like. Okay?
You see, a professional YouTuber, right? So I'm no Nick.
Thank you, Yana.